Hello everyone and welcome to the RNG University. On tonight's episode, the Grixis again. So, the Grixis has been a very popular deck in the meta since, I don't know, Kamigawa days. And there's a lot of different ways to play Grixis. And in the current meta, I found a deck that really is kind of the same old blend with an addition of Kaito the Dancing Shadow. Now, I only have one in the deck because I only crafted one. I didn't even crack any. So I wanted to see how well Kaito does in today's meta with the inclusion of a few of the new sort of fast lands. So we got Dark Slick Shores and Blackcleave Cliffs. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So the deck runs very similar to the old Grixis deck. We start with 2 drops, or 2 1-drops in Cut Down, just to kill soldiers early game. And then we have 3 Make Disappear, countering big spells. And this is something that we have to be very careful about. The Make Disappears are usually reserved for countering big flashy spells, like our opponent's Invoke Despair, or one of the reanimating spells our opponent's going to use on an Atraxa. We don't really want to use it on small things unless we're going against a very aggro deck. Alright, and then we have 3, Go for the Throat. Pretty self-explanatory. We want to have removal early game against non-artifact creatures, our opponent being aggressive. 3 Abrades to take our opponent's, nowadays, really combo pieces, not just Bankbuster, not just early game creatures, but if our opponent's playing like the Ichor something, or the Mind Splice apparatus, those are all artifacts that we can remove with the Abrade. So Abrades actually kind of got bumped up in the relevancy in the meta. And of course, for Bloodtithe Harvester, good tempo card, good removal card, good blood to help us loot. All around, this is just an excellent card to run whenever you are in the red-black mana base. And 2 Bankbuster for additional card draw if necessary, but we gotta be a little bit careful. The meta is very aggressive, so having 4 Bankbuster in the deck could be detrimental. That's why we're only running 2. Then we have 4 Fable the Mirror Breaker, moving on to the 3 drops, right? Fable's just, you play regularly Fable. And then, of course, 4 Corpse Appraiser, a very good card advantage card. It's the 3 mana 3/3, which isn't that crazy on stats. But it's 3 mana 3/3 that if you can exile a creature card from a graveyard, you get to look at the top 3 and put a card in your hand. So very good filtering, but also hidden tech in graveyard removal. If our opponent is playing somehow a reanimating deck, our Corpse Appraiser will make sure work of that. And then, of course, for Sheoldred, which is fantastic against, any kind of aggro deck. She's big, she gives us life, and then she puts a clock on our opponent, because whenever they draw, they lose 2 life. And the coup de grace of the deck is Kaito Dancing Shadow. He is very good in that he can make Death Toucher, he can help us draw, but also we can use the ability where whenever our creature attacks and gets through, we can bounce that creature instead. And you know what happens when we bounce Corpse Appraiser or Bloodtithe Harvester? Well, we're going to get another one of those effects. So that's why it's in the deck. Obviously, we don't have that many ETBs in the deck, so we don't want to activate the Kaito first ability or the passive ability too much. Kaito is only a 1-off, and I want to see how well it works. Then, of course, any black deck, we have 4 Invoke Despairs, right? So Grixis, we can still get a lot of black mana. Also, Invoke Despair is kind of a necessity. Then the land base, the land base is going to be very nuanced. So we got 1 Otawara, 1 Takenuma. That's, of course, always in Grixis decks. We don't have the red version, the Sokuzin. Yeah, we don't need that because that's more of an aggro slant. Now we have 3 Dark Slick Shore, 4 Shipwreck Marsh, 1 Storm Carved Coast. We don't have that many red-blue combos, so it doesn't matter that much. But 2 Blackcleave Cliffs, 4 Haunted Ridge, 4 Sulfurous Springs. You can see we have a lot of these lands kind of spread out. And then we have 4 Xander Lounge for obvious, Grixis mana base. But I also am reminded to run 2 Swamps, just in case our opponent try to basic check us with their Field of Ruin, right? It's always nice to have basic in your deck for just those niche scenario that if you don't, you're gonna lose to a blowout. That's why, even though we could put other things in the deck, right? We could put other ping lands. We didn't fit 4 of each of these kind of lands anyways. Some basic could be useful. So that's the whole deck list. And now let's see how well we can do with the Grixis deck. Grixis. There it is. Grixis. Express yourself to your opponent with emotes by paying wizards more money. Alright, we're playing against Mage Ton. For some reason, I almost read that as Megatron, which would have been a much scarier opponent. Opponent goes first, of course, but at least we got removal, and card draw. So I'm going to keep. Not the best, since we got 2 fast land and the land that we do kind of want to play first. But let's see what our opponent does. Island. Alright. Everything's going down the drain because opponent played an island. So our game plan is now... I don't know what our game plan is. Of course, opponents play mono blue, so we have to tempo them out. But all we have in our hand is fast removal, which doesn't do anything against that deck. And that means we should probably just quit. And they might have a bad draw. That's the only thing we can hope for. Okay, so we're going to play Fable, they're going to counter it, then they're going to play Jin and protect it, and then we'll die. Didn't counter this, so they're drawing cards then. Yep, thirst for discovery. The thing is, if they play a Jin, we can actually remove it. We got good removal in our hand. Play it. Play your Jin. No Jins. Okay, so we don't need the Abrade, it doesn't do anything, and we don't need the Xander Lounge because it's a bit slow. But it is a land. We don't need a cut down. We're not cutting anything down, honestly. I was hoping to draw a counterspell, but we got Fading Hope. Fable again. Will we get countered this time? Fading Hope again. Consider. Okay. Didn't even survey. Just waiting for the draw. Bunch of mana. This can only exile creature cards. There's the Jin. We're gonna have to do a lot with this hand. So let's discard that. Let's discard the corpse. Lands are good. Drop a land first in case. Let's remove the Jin. Does he have a protection spell, or is he just gonna let the Jin die? Just let it die. You don't need it. It's fine. March. Why did he do that? I don't know. But oh well. Jin removed. He's drawing a lot of cards. And then this guy discarded 2 cards. Draw 5, discard 2 is a pretty good play, but why do you play on his turn? It's an instant. If only I have a card that exiles all graveyard. That would be pretty nice. What do you toss? Essence Scatter and March. Okay, Tolarian Horror. Does not scare me one bit. You know why? Because you're gonna eat the pain. Ow, ow, ow. Alright, so Sulfurous Spring or Takenuma. So Sulfurous Spring is fine. What are you gonna do? We're gonna Kiki Jiki it up the wazoo. Another horror? Okay. As long as it doesn't have Fading Hope. Obviously could have Fading Hope, and then I'm screwed. There it is. Anything else you want to do? No. Okay. So that means let us Corpse Appraise your horror. Horror. Oh, let's take out the Djinn. Not that it matters, honestly. This could be useful. Okay, so what do we want to do? I want to copy the Corpse Appraiser and then use that in Make Disappear. Right? So that's going to be 3 mana, which means that I can't play anything into it, since that costs 3 mana. But I also want the Fable out. No, this is harsh. Can I play a land? No, I cannot. I already played a land. What am I doing? No attacks, but that's fine. If the Tolarian Horror tries to attack us, we got better plays. Impulse, you can draw. Basically changes a card for a card and give him more cards. Didn't know this was going to be my first opponent. Alright, so if you're going to play a Djinn, I'm going to copy a Corpse Appraiser. You going to let me do that? Exile your Tolarian Horror. And look at the top 3 lands. That's nice. I'll make your Djinn disappear. On the stack. Why don't you counter and Make Disappear while it's on the stack? That makes no sense. Unless he has Spell Pierce. But even with Spell Pierce, he has to tap out all his mana. And all I want to do is take out his Djinn. You can't stop it unless he's got Spell Pierce, which he doesn't. Does he have another Djinn he wants to play? He has to tap himself out for that, so I'm fine with that. Attack! Gutsy. I'm not gonna block. Now my turn. Alright, let's drop our Fable. So we want to use 1 on this, and then if we get to Make Disappear, that's 2 more. I want to hold up 3 mana, which means that we could Bankbuster. Do we want to Bankbuster? Kinda do. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, we can take all the damage. It's either lethal or not lethal, right? So we can take these little bit of damage. And he has... I can attack with the Corpse Appraiser too. He has used several Fading Hopes. Right? 1, 2, 3. He has used 3 Fading Hopes. Okay, you can draw 3 cards, discard 2. Or discard land. We're still representing the Make Disappear. Whether or not we have it, that's our opponent's gamble, I guess. Flow of Knowledge. Okay, so now we have to do this on Corpse Appraiser. Exile Djinn, come on, Make Disappear. That's not Make Disappear. Our opponent's gonna draw 6 cards. That's scary. 6 cards. Down to 24 cards in his deck. You can play a land. You can play another horror. Both kind of scary. Did we take out 3 Djinns? Or just 2? I feel like I took out 2 Djinns, right? Yeah, just 2. So he has 2 more. And he has 2 lands open, so that is a counter spell open if he wants to do something with it. He can't counter the Otawara. He could phase creatures out. That's about it. Didn't attack. Do I have any creatures in my graveyard? I have a Corpse Appraiser. Okay, so I want to get rid of the Shipwreck Marsh and the Zender Lounge. Actually, no, the Cut Down. Oh, come on! Okay, none of these cards are that useful, so I will play a Corpse Appraiser into 1 open mana. I don't think he can do anything against 1 open mana. Exile my own Corpse Appraiser. Invoke. Invoke's pretty good, right? I kind of tap myself out though if I invoke him. I don't think he can counter it. Does he have Spell Pierce in that deck? He does. It does not look like he represented any Spell Pierce. So, or I should attack first. Get a mana. Would it 1 mana do anything? None of these do anything. So alright. Risky game. He's playing his Djinn. Gotta let it out. But he can just phase everything out now. Really? He's not leaving himself up with a lot of mana. But it does mean I have to get lethal next turn. Not as easy as it looks. Wow. Okay, that's a bad play. Does he want to attack? No attack. Copy my Corpse Appraiser. Exile. Yeah, that's a bad play, because I can copy a bunch of Kiki-Jikis next turn, and... Actually, no, that doesn't work that way, but I guess I can just attack through him. I don't know what my opponent's thinking. Why would he tap himself out? Anyways, that was a very long one, first game, but don't play Mono Blue. Just don't do it, guys. It's not a good deck. I mean, against my control deck, it barely held its own. Against any aggro deck, you would have seen that deck just get blown out easily. I mean, I just don't really like monocolored decks that is very restrictive. And if you're not fast, you just gotta rely on luck. Opponent goes first. We got 2 removal. We could play with this hand. It's not fun. But we got 2 removals. And if that removal is something good, I think it would... I mean, if he plays Thalia, our removal is not going to do anything. I'm going to keep. Let's lose this game anyways. Alright, Lounge. So we want to start with the Haunter Ridge into the Darkslick Shores so that all our lands are untapped. What the heck is this? Grixis versus Grixis? Nothing, huh? Is it because I'm representing a counterspell? Somebody got to blink first. Bankbuster. Right into the Abrade. And then into the Sheoldred. Now remove Sheoldred, you get involved. Basically that. Corpse Appraiser. You get invoked anyways. Thanks for the card draw. There ain't. Maybe they'll invoke me now. Nope, Corpse Appraise into the Corpse Appraise. I guess. Maybe he's just short on land? I don't know what's going on. Just gotta remove the Sheoldred, right? That's too many things going on. No, GG. That works. I was all prepared to lose that game, but the Stoop is Eek. I don't know what that name stands for, but apparently he had a worse draw than I did, and I had a lot of lands. Okay, that was game 2. Game 1 lasted 20 minutes, game 2 lasted 2. So, that's magic for you. You can say the average game is 10 minutes long, but honestly, if you, or 11 minutes long, yes, it felt like the average game was 50 minutes long just because of the first game. Still, opponent goes first because fair is fair. We still have removal, so I'm gonna keep, but this is a little bit weaker than last, and yep. Like I said, right, we're gonna lose if it's Dahlia, and we're about to lose. If it's Dahlia, I might just quit. Yep. Dahlia. Attack. Poison. Not attack. Not even anything I can play. Not playing that out. Alright, game 3 is even shorter. Maybe next game our opponent will quit as soon as the game starts. Or maybe I'll quit as soon as the game starts. Have we gone first once today? We did not. And we probably won't. Emmanuel Sutter. I wonder how bad you have to be at the game to go first. Oh, well, I guess they're telling me now. This is how bad. This hand is okay, though. I guess we'll Haunter Ridge into Darkslick Shores. No removal, but we are going first. Yeah, honestly, the rate of people going first is so low. It's weird, right? And I feel like some people have to go first more often than not, because how else would the stats kind of shape out? And I feel like that's happening to people who are just awful at the game. But to be fair, no one plays this well and lose this often. Xander Lounge again. So they're just putting up against other Grixis, which is annoying. Because if you ask any Magic player, their least favorite playstyle is Mirror Match. Nobody likes playing Mirror Match. It's boring. They're just playing the same game. Pitch the Lounge. Do I even want to cut that down? Let's just trade. Or I can... I guess I'll just cut it down. I don't think a cut down is going to get any better than this. And then we can play a Sheoldred. into next turn Invoke. Oh yeah. Playing a Sheoldred is very good onto chapter 2 of Fable, because he has to pitch 2 cards and lose 4 life, or he has to remove it on his upkeep, which locks all his mana. Now what are you gonna do? Alright, he's holding off a removal, which is fair, I guess. Or not a removal, a counter spell. But we're gonna go for an attack. See if he wants to remove anything here. Kinda needs to. Or he just takes 5. He's thinking long and hard about this. Alright, he doesn't remove. I'm not gonna invoke him here, because that's just a counter spell. Pretty obviously. Sweet! A land that doesn't do anything. Hey, we are on the advantageous side, so it's fair. It's fair that we're getting bad draws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next turn we can get 7. That gets under and make disappear. Invoke. Okay, so he's invoking us, which means that when we invoke him, we win, right? So that's fine. He can draw 2 cards. So we'll sack a creature. That way we won't have to sack an enchantment. You drew 2 cards. Congratulations. Invoke and invoke. That's even less fair. GG. Yep. I hate mirror matches. It's not that it's bad or hard, it's just no fun, because I'm not really testing my deck against anything. It's just facing the same opponent that playing the same deck as me, and whoever's luckier wins. Which clearly was us last game. Alright, so let's look at the deck, right? We played, what, 4 games? And honestly, when I filled the game out, it is very iffy. Honestly, Grixis played the same way, in the same meta since last time. I don't see any different. Obviously, we didn't play any real decks. All the decks we played were also somehow the same style, Grixis, and the only game that we lost was when we, well, not the only game we lost, but the game that we, was that the only game we lost? We quit real quick out of that game because, you know, we had 2 lands and they thought we had turn 2 going first. So we weren't going to win that game at all. And that was a new deck, but we didn't get to try it out against our deck. And then we play against Grixis and more Grixis. So honestly, playing this deck is okay, right? If you like Grixis style, you will have a lot of success with this deck in the long run. However, I just feel like the shuffle or the matchmaker would just put you up against other Grixis, and so you don't really get to test your deck out against, you know, the actual meta that much. I do feel like the meta is a lot more aggressive. Whenever I play any other deck, I just see a lot of soldiers, a lot of mono red burns, and this deck I think will do very well against soldiers. If we get the removals early game against soldiers, we have plenty. Against mono red burn, on the other hand, that's a little bit trickier. It is about how we can get, you know, the proper cut down on a creature, how to get the Bloodtithe Harvester down as a blocker, and getting to go first is a huge deal. If you don't get to go first, you better hope you drop Sheoldred like turn 4. Exactly on turn 4, so that you can absorb that damage. Maybe get some card draw with Invoke so that you gain life from that. That is one way to get out of a very fast burn strategy. Alright, that's what I got for you today. I do recommend this deck, though. It's a good deck on its own. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.